Okay, am I audible, ma'am? Am I okay?
Yeah, you are okay. Is my voice audible to all of you?
I'm just hearing some voice.
I request Sunita Bhardwaj to please silent the microphone of your side. Good evening, Jaya ma'am. Welcome.
Good morning, good evening. Finally, I've joined.
Okay, yes, all
of
of us.
course, today is our Indian day, so we are all here greeting to each other good evening. But tomorrow,
good evening.
Mind you all that we would be having different person. So good evening, ma'am. How are you?
I'm fine, absolutely. Professor Balasubramaniyam, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. Thank you very much. How are you?
Tamil Nadu.
Yes, Tamil Nadu is joining with you now.
And Jaipur is cold. Jayshree, Udaipur is also cold, isn't it?
I think certainly by the last night we have been feeling some kind of, chill, cold kind of, but still we don't need heater to turn on. Otherwise, there would be a lot of dehydration and you'll feel thirsty or you may feel weaker.
Tamil Nadu is very warm.
I think this switching over between the dryness and the warmth and the cold and everything is, there going on in the nature.
Yeah, Udaipur has many gardens, so that is another problem.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of, lakes, 13 lakes there are. It's a beautiful, one of the world's largest beautiful city as a tourist city. So naturally, there you will find humidity also. And you may say that when you feel cold, you sometimes get kind of...
Yes.
Great. People are joining.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dr. Kamal Singh Rathore, he's our, one of the backbone to accumulate all the employees of the university to keep on working online or in hybrid mode to conduct some gatherings, whether online or offline.
Good evening.
Great meeting you.
Mr. Rathore, good evening.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, Dr. Rathore.
Sir, good evening.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think I am very excited about this workshop because we will be learning a lot of things.
Yeah, this is very interested by ma'am. She is wonderfully arranged all this.
Yeah,
and
it is Jayshree's credit.
No, ma'am, it's very, you're very humble and modest in always giving me the credit, but actually you have been always something in back in my mind and offering me insights to create, to work through literature and language and then at least connect to the theories, prevailing theories, so that the students, scholars may get always some kind of cue to get themselves in line with.
Jayashree, it is the teacher's duty to say, but you are a good student that you apply practically. I'm very happy to be here, and all these days I really look forward to it.
So I formally now start with the program, the online program. Slowly and gradually, all the audience or the attendees would come in as per their convenience. But we would start with the formal introduction and the formal greetings to all the visitors and attendees. I request to all attendees to turn off their or switch off their microphone so that there may not be any glitch with regard to sound or voices from the background. So now I start with the introduction to especially our Bhupal Nobles University, the intention behind all this venture that they have taken to celebrate the 100 years, the centenary year that is going on because in 2nd January 1920, you may say 1923, the institution Bhupal Nobles Sansthan, under the aegis of Vidya Pracharni Sabha Trust, got its foundation. And Bhupal Nobles University is one of its, primarily now, you may say, institution that is pulling all the chains to its center position and sinking finally in the goals of Bhupal Noble Sansthan. So I pay my heartfelt salutation in tribute for all the voluntary and honorary contributions given by all veteran contributors of Vidya Pracharni Sabha. I acknowledge also with privilege the opportunity to welcome and honor the current patrons of Vidya Pracharni Sabha, because they are the elected members of the body who are elected from the region of Udaipur. And they are mostly, of course, alumni of this whole Bhopal Noble Sansthan. In their own life, they might have been students in either school or in one of the units of Bhopal Noble Sansthan. And as now the Bhopal Nobles University has taken over this label of Bhopal Noble Sansthan primarily, so the current patrons are looking after the administration. The Honorable Chairperson, Shriman Pradeep Kumar Singh Ji Singoli, he is the chairperson of this Bhopal Noble Sansthan that is celebrating the 100 years of its foundation and existence. Then there is also another honorary person who is giving all his honorary services, the secretary, Dr. Mahendra Singh Ji Agria. He was a professor in Agriculture University of Udaipur. And then there is another luminary figure, the Honorable Managing Director, Mohabbat Singh Rathore. And the Finance Secretary, he is a professor, and Dr. Daryav Singh Ji Chundawat. He is currently also in the Rajasthan State Education Higher Council serving at Jaipur. He is Finance Secretary of Bhopal Noble Sansthan. Now I come to the my own executive body of the Bhopal Nobles University. I humbly acknowledge to the contemporary Bhopal Nobles University office bearers here, and because they have been always giving us support and stimulation to continue to excel in academics. The president of Bhopal Nobles University is Professor Naresh Bahadur Singh Ji. I have given him the link, and probably he may join in, sparing might be some of his precious moments out of busy schedule. Then our registrar is Shriman Parbat Singh Rathore Saab. He is also looking into the financial affairs. He had been earlier finance secretary and still continuing with that position. I also acknowledge humbly my deep respect for giving me so much of spark is the Dean, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities, Professor Devendra Singh Sisodia, and all my department colleagues, especially the previous head of the department, Dr. Aparna Sharma. Only the day before yesterday, I have been appointed as head of the department, Dr. Jayshree Singh. And my other colleagues are Dr. Madhvi Rathore, she is associate professor, Dr. Manisha Shekhawat, she is assistant professor. So I humbly acknowledge all their contributions they have given to me to come up to this level, voluntary or involuntary level. Then I also introduce Public Relations Officer to Bhopal Nobles University, President Dr. Kamal Singh Rathore. He is Associate Professor in Pharmacy faculty. He is on the screen. Then today's special guest. Today's special guest is Honorable Professor Joya Chakravarty. She was formerly the Dean of Humanities and the head of the English department. She had chaired many committees and positions, and she had been intermittently contributing until date. She had been into I'll say she has been into academics. She's taking classes in Rajasthan University, Maharani's College, and all other, whatever, wherever she is invited as a resource person, online and offline mode. And she has been so reciprocal to all my insights and upcoming ideas that she has consented to take care of the online workshop proceedings as the honorable chairperson for all sessions. I would like to greet with wholehearted respect the Honorable Registrar once again, who has been forever an erudite personality amongst the academic fraternity of BNU Udaipur. I welcome you, sir, to preside today's evening session. Then our inaugural keynote speaker is from Tamil Nadu. He is there with us on screen, and he has been contributing with full inspiration and enthusiasm in his vintage years to the young fraternity of academia through his professional experience and expertise. Dr. Balasubramaniyam Kurupaswamy is the professor of English from Manunmanamyam Sundranar University at Tirunavaleli. Hope, sir, I have pronounced three difficult words: Manomananiyam Sundranar University at Tirunelveli in Madras. He has been a thorough guide, philosopher, teacher, learner as a professor. He had always taken interest in enlightening students through his voice, that is verbal voice, rather in guiding them in scholarly works, but through his voice, orally, he has given a lot of guidance to his students. His areas of interest include literature and language and English phonetics in particular. He had regularly been in his professional life an active administrator, worked as syndicate, coordinator, NSS, as well as dean of the college development council at the university. His university's name, actually, the college in Constant College was affiliated to, or you may say, Constant College in the university. He has named the university's name is Manunmaniyam Sundrana University. To start with the evening session of today, I invite Professor Joya ma'am to lead the floor, introduce to the audience the context, the concern, and the cause of this workshop, and invite the key speaker of the day, Professor Balasubramaniyam Kurupaswamy, soon after this address. Thank you. Please take.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible.
Yes, ma'am. Very clearly you are audible.
Yes, yes.
It has been a pleasure to have been associated with Bhupal Nobles University Udaipur, and I'm especially grateful to Jayshree for giving me this privilege to chair the session every day. I am a student perpetually, however much I may be a professor and a former dean and a director of humanities. Every teacher is a student because I learn every day. I learn both from my colleagues and from my students. And I have learned from Jayshree how or what is it that makes a person dedicated. Her bright wishes in the morning inspire me. So this morning, when she told me that every day you will introduce the speaker, I said, okay. The theme of the workshop, creative language, teaching, criticism, films and texts. From the 12th to the 27th of Feb 2022 has a number of interesting speakers. And I'm very happy that Professor Balasubramaniyam is going to speak on text and context, a relook at John Keats's select Odes. I think ever since our graduation, we have grown up on Keats. And Keats has made us think not only of the beautiful Grecian urn, but of the lovely nightingale hiding in the forest, but singing so sweetly. Films and texts enable us to have a different perspective. different religions, different cultures, and presented through the written form. And then when we see them visually, I'm sure all of you will agree that the audio visual impact is far more imprinted in our minds than anything else. And that is why this morning I had sent a note to Professor Berta that I'm very happy that she will be showing us clippings of David Copperfield, a text which I really admire a lot. Okay, because I had told Professor Berta that my PhD was on Charles Dickens, and therefore my specialization is 19th century British literature. Professor Balasubramaniyam is an erudite scholar. He has been throughout his academic career an inspiration to his younger colleagues. I am sure the participants in this workshop will benefit a lot, and they will have a new perspective on John Keats' Odes when they read it again. Balasubramaniyam sir, welcome to you for this workshop. You are our opening batsman. So, 3 cheers to you, sir. Let us hear you.
So please
unmute yourself, Professor Balasubramaniyam. Please unmute yourself. Professor Balasubramaniyam, please unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir, again.
Balasubramaniyam sir, please unmute yourself.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thank Dr. Joya Chakravarty for introducing me now for this inaugural session. And I must profusely thank Dr. Jayshree Singh for several reasons. We became friends on LinkedIn, and she is so academic and so professional that she invited me immediately. Bala, can you give a lecture? And that is the real professionalism now we need among our teachers. And thank you, Dr. Jayshree. Am I audible now? Am I okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to talk to people of your university and other places as well. And it is a venture from Bhupal Nobles University Udaipur. And it's an excellent area of research that you have decided for your FDP program, namely English Literary Language Studies Workshop. Wonderful. And FDP is an immediate necessity for teachers always. And Dr. Jayshree and her colleagues have thought of this so nicely that they have invited people from across the globe. And I'm so very happy that I am also taken as one for this FDP program. And I'm an old timer, and I'm not so much attached to movies and all, though I see movies occasionally. And that's why I was thinking of talking on text and context. And of course, my area of research was American literature, American fiction. I got my PhD on Jack London. And of course, my interests on English phonetics came through because of my association with CIEF in those days. presently flew, and I did my certificate and diploma program there. And I had wonderful teachers who instilled in me the spirit of talking the language in a better way. And every teacher, Dr. Priya Vasali, Dr. Balasubramaniyam, my own name, and Dr. P.D. Dhameja, all excellent teachers who taught me my certificate and diploma programs. All right, that about it. Now, literature bounds in everything, with everything. You can't say that it's not there in literature. That is the greatness of literature. Any literature, for that matter, literature of any language. And Indian languages are prolific in writings. There are excellent writers, and our Indians have to go through those writers again, and that's why relook is imperative for every kind of work. That is why when I just went through the gamut of literature, I thought of two people who stand apart in the construct, namely Shakespeare and John Keats. Shakespeare is an amazing writer. There's no word about that. And his writings, all his writings are brilliant. We have undergone various experiences of learning Shakespeare and acting as well. We directed a couple of plays when we were students, especially we loved Othello. And my students played, wonderful roles, and the play was excellent. Likewise, after Shakespeare, I'm reminded of John Keats. That is why I thought of talking on John Keats. And in fact, John Keats has written much, and his odes are aloof, in the sense that they are grand, in the sense that if you read his odes, the primary 6 odes, and I used to tell my students that after writing the odes, kids should have stopped writing totally. That's what is life also. And amazing 6 odes. And of the odes, I thought of selecting 3 odes. Of course, Dr. Joya Chakravarty has referred to 2 of the words, and one more ode I would refer to. And in these odes, namely 3 words I selected, he was so great in the sense that he gave himself so steadfastly and so committedly that if you read these 3 odes, you are taken off. Dr. Joya Chakravarty referred to 2 odes, namely Ode to a Nightingale and Ode on a Grecian Urn. And I include Ode on Melancholy. Am I okay, madam? Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, doctor.
Ma'am, can you hear? Is he not speaking a little low? His volume is low.
Yeah, but I have put it on speaker. Mine is on speaker.
Okay. Mine is also at high volume. Maybe just like the person, the computer also is old.
No.
All right, there's no problem. Okay, that's why I thought the 3 odes. As I told you earlier, all the odes are excellent, and I can never forget. What do I say? The odes taught by my teachers when I was a student. Even now, when I teach those same odes, I remember my teachers profusely. And I thank them all the ways possible. And I chose these 3 odes, namely Ode on Melancholy, Ode to a Nightingale, and Ode on a Grecian Urn, for several reasons. Namely, these texts, the 3 texts have wonderful inspiration for the mankind. And that's why, outwardly, if you look at these three poems, these three odes, they may talk about human endeavor, human predicament, everything. But at the same time, these words talk about human reach also. And I believe in O.T. Nightingale, Keats talks about human uplift as well. And at the same time, when you read these three odes, you come to know of the context of the odes, in the sense that when he wrote these odes, all people have some problem or other. And in the case of John Keats, man has suffered a lot, and his sufferings have made him a great creative writer. Maybe Carl Jung was right in telling that in the neurotic disruption, creation comes up. Maybe that's what was Keats is. That his writings always take us along, and we get into those odes, these writings, and we forget ourselves. Now, so for example, this is the context in which he wrote, namely, his personal life is very poor, very disturbed, and parents lost, brother lost, without financial support. All these are personal problems of this man, John Keats. And of course, all these are our problems as well. And for a man who loved a girl, Fanny Brown, and when he rejected her, the man was taken aloof, taken offside, and he was not able to be, okay at all. For example, man always is happy, very happy, when he gets everything. When he doesn't have what he asks for, or what he likes, or what he wishes for, naturally man is dilapidated. And John Keats was also dilapidated. And that is the context in which John Keats wrote for the texts. And I read between the lines, and I see the same is the context for the present day generation, namely for us also. Namely, but to be very plain, man is in a kind of a fix, in a kind of a Hamletian disturbance, namely to be or not to be. That is the question. Some people are not able to just solve their problems. They feel that they can go off. And that is why the things like committing suicide comes into the minds of the people. And at the time of results of school and college, we see young children committing suicide. I would say that they have not studied literature properly, and that is why they think of that. And as a kind of an aside, I would say that the more engineering institutions came up, the loss of literature also came in, and that is why people are not able to relish the literature, and they're not able to relish their own life. Problems apart, we must face the world. That is the ideological position. But the problem with the people is, ideologies don't work. That is why people begin to blame each other. Now, when I'm not happy, I blame others, and others blame me. Finally, there is, problems galore. And as a result of that, naturally, the youth are opposed to the elderly. And when the youth are opposed to the elderly, naturally problems come. And when people come and tell me about their problems, as a part-time work, some people come and talk to me, and we share our views. And at that time, I say that it's all because of your misunderstanding of the problems. Try to understand the problems. If you understand your problems properly, you may be able to face anything in the world. And I used to tell them in a friendly way, had I not done literature, I would have myself committed suicide long back. Now I'm 70 plus, and I'm facing the world so boldly because I was taught by literature. Literature taught me the way of life I am living. And for that, I profusely thank my teachers. Well, and these odes, naturally, are the three words I will select it. Ode on melancholy. Ode on melancholy is a wonderful ode which really talks of so much. And in two places, we always are taken aback by melancholy ode. Namely, we are just feeling the world so much that there is anguish of the soul. Body is okay. Body is facing the world, and soul, which is inner and which is complaining about the anguish we have, there is always a problem, and that is why the problem becomes bigger and bigger. And ode on melancholy is a kind of a lesson for us. The more you read, you will know about the kind of beauty of your own life, which actually gets its real expression in the third word I am going to talk about, namely ode on a Grecian urn. And see, for example, the beauty and joy are all there, but at the same time, they would be making a hullabaloo for us, and we will have to face everything. If you are not able to face, if we are a bit reluctant to face the problems, something is wrong with us. And that's why, when something wrong peeps into the mind of the people, we are dilapidated, and naturally, some people so accidentally decide to even commit suicide. And that's why losses for example, if a young boy commits suicide, what a great loss to the parents, to his friends, to his relatives. Everything is a problem, and that is why is a big problem. And in the whole of the poem, melancholy, ode on melancholy, he would also talk about death and misery. Misery, without misery, there is life is not interesting. We must be in a position to see the misery positively, in the sense that, okay, but this problem is coming, and we have to face this problem. And how to solve the problems we have is the big question in the mind. So, for example, if we have more, we are happy, number one. Number two, when we have more, naturally we must have a feeling of satisfaction. The problem with most of us is the whole world, naturally dissatisfaction with what we have. That's why, we live larger and we suffer. And in one of the references, I saw that in a part of the Pacific Ocean, there is only dirt piled up from the Americas. The problem still with the people is people are not living on minimalism. We want more, we ask for more, and finally we waste, and our waste is piled up, and finally it's disturbing us. That's what I was referring to, the Pacific Ocean. My nephew is working in a ship. He used to say that, when we cross the Pacific Ocean, we ought to be very careful. He used to say that. That is what is the position, because as I said earlier, there is pain always, and immediately pleasure also is there. We can't say that we are always suffering painful experience. There are a few moments where we are very brilliantly happy, and that is what is that poem Melancholy tells us. Naturally, leave aside all melancholic ideologies. They are there, they will be there, And at this time, we must remember how Keats, he died at 25. Actually, coming February 23, 200 years are completed after his death. And we have crossed 200 years. He was living only about 25 years, and in the 25 years, he has written so much, and we remember him still. And now that is the context that we get. Problems are there. Problems were there for Keats, but Keats pooh-poohed away all the problems that he was able to live happily. Now, and well, this is the position with which we go to the second ode, namely Ode to a Nightingale. To a nightingale, as Dr. Joya Chakravarty told, an unseen bird with its voice is able to just impress a listener. That is the power of music as well. That's the power of music brought in by birds. The chirping of the birds have an excellent impression on us that we are so very happy. I had an opportunity to work in a few countries, and one of the countries was Ethiopia. People say that Ethiopia is a poor country, and I will tell you, just like politicians, there also politicians are living, and brilliant students they were. And along with the students, and I loved the birds there. Really, I was after the names, lovebirds. They were so fine, so cute that in the afternoon hours, after the class hours, when we go back home, if we give something to eat, all the birds would chirp around us and would just take the food from our hands and from our side and all. They will make, I won't say noise, they would make a voice, and that voice was brilliant. That voice should have been a voice that Keats was impressed with. See, it's a wonderful thing, See, when he starts the ode, he tells, he starts the ode like this, my heart aches. See the word he's telling, my heart aches. Yeah, this is the problem with all of us, when we are in a dilapidated condition, in a disturbed mood, our heart aches, and there's a kind of numbness. We fall flat, we sit tight, we forget everything, and that is the position. At times, we want to forget everything, but forgetting is not so easy. This is why, people, great writers like Keats, emphasize the point that we must remember. We can't afford to forget. How can we forget? I still remember my childhood days when I remember my mom giving me food and sending me to school, and I remember my teachers honorably, respectably. What a wonderful teacher I had. I got a teacher. Oh God, my mother told her, look here, Saroja, you speak very good English. Why don't you teach my son also? The fact is, I started learning the alphabet when I was fifth grader. She taught me the alphabet. Of course, now the present day students are learning the alphabet. LKG, UKG, and all they study. I started learning English when I was 10-year-old, and I remember that teacher, Saroja. That is how, all the people, we can't afford to forget anything. Everything will be very fresh in my mind. And when you hear a bird singing, it's a kind of he just opens up himself and he feels as if he's drinking everything that I might drink and leave the world unseen. What he says, oh God, I got everything from you, Nightingale. You have gone into me. You have gone into me, that I have taken you, then that I want to leave the world unseen. Nobody should see me. poor man, that was what was his case also. Okay, unseen, and he tells, with you I would fail away. That is the position he was in. And he tells that because, he has seen weariness, fever, fret, all these things are there. And he just uses a few words, wonderful words, where men sit and hear each other groan. See the words he's using, men sit and hear each other groan. One of my students asked me, sir, he is talking about only men. Oh, here go. He is talking about the mankind. Mankind is sitting and hearing each other groan. That's what is happening. When we collect ourselves together with a couple of friends, we immediately talk about each other's problem. What happened to this? What happened to that? How are you going to manage? All these things, all these things will be there because that is what is the context in which we are living. For example, he wrote 200 years before, but we are facing the same fever, fret, worry, disturbance, anxiety. All these things are. We are an ant-ridden society that we don't know what to do next because that's why in America, Americans always come to the point when they have had something, they would go to the word "what next?" That's the ideology they have in their mind. What next? Where can we take, or what can we take? And all these things are in their mind, because. And he says, about the youth grows pale and spectre thin and dies. Now the youth who are not able to understand certain things, they grow pale, they grow thin. What is the use of when you are not able to understand your life properly, when you are not able to face the world properly, and when you are not able to solve the problems boldly, you become spectre thin. When you become thin, you need not become thin. You should be good because you should feel everything on a bold note, because he feels that the bird is not born for death, and he calls the bird immortal bird. And he also comes to the point that where there is a sense of equality. In those days, the king and the clown were on an equal footing, talking to each other on a positive note. See, in ancient days, by emperor and clown, they were able to listen to the birds. Same birds' voice, same birds singing. Everything was brilliant for all of them. That is the naturalness of the birds, because the bird is a kind of a finite ideology. In the infinitesimal world, there are certain finite things, and the bird is one of the finite things that is able to just influence you and take you along its path. And we always are very happy to go along with the bird, because the bird is a wonderful phenomenon for all of us. And when you listen to the bird's song, of course the bird is making its voice, and I won't say voice, but at the same time, when we hear the bird's voice, or when we read O.T. Nightingale again and again, I remember the God Almighty's plans. Robert Burns, in one of his poems, tells, inscrutable are the ways of God to man. See the words he's using. Inscrutable are the ways of God to man. I was one of the non-believers for 35 years. For 35 years, I was in the, kind of a non-believers movement. Namely, here in Tamil Nadu, there was one E.V. Ramaswamy, popularly known as Periyar, who taught all of us that there is no God. And we were after him. And I got a what do I say? I got a jolt. I remembered him because my father told me, Bala, you are after those people, and those people have really disturbed you that you are not able to feel the right exactly. And that was the time that I came to know that there is silence around all of us. Silence. If you hear a song of a bird, or if you again and again read Ode to Nightingale or Ode on a Grecian Urn, I felt a kind of silence. It's amazing. You know, of course, noise is there. People make noise. People talk. People tell a lot. But at the same time, silence is there. I felt the silence in three places, and all the three places are the same. Up above the skies, when you are in an airplane, you would feel the silence. And down, when you are in a desert, you go to the desert, a kilometer or two inside of the deserts, you will feel silence. And the third silence I felt underneath the water. If you swim, if you go into the waters, you would feel the silence. I felt all three points of silence are one and the same, and all three took me to Lord Shiva. That's what was the learning that all these poets are coming to us, that they are teaching us. And this John Keats is an amazing writer that way, that we can't forget him, we can't leave him at all. And the third poem, namely Ode on a Grecian Urn, is something that is an amazing ode. And I would feel that Ode on a Grecian Urn is a conglomerate of all his odes. As we were wading through the problems, worries, disturbances, that there is a point where you are happy. There is a point where you really attain happiness, and that happiness is something great. And where that happiness is, there is the big question. Man is after everything. And he sums up, he writes the poem beautifully. And we as teachers have read this poem hundreds of times, and we have taught this poem hundreds of times. Every time Ode on a Grecian Urn is a new poem for me. Every time it's a new poem. And this morning I was reading the same poem third time for this lecture today, and amazing. That is where and John Keats takes us all to the particular place where there is the greatest phenomenon, namely beauty, and which he calls truth. And if you look at the poem, if you read the poem, and you see, he would call the poem, you just, for example, he comes across an urn of the past, and on the urn are engraved various scenes, and all the scenes really drive the man to some place or other, that he is so very happy to go after the urn. He goes around the urn and sees, look, wonderful, he sees two lovers, they are about to kiss. Actually, the man is not able to kiss, and that kiss is prohibited by the artist. It's wonderful, and another scene in a kind of a spring where the birds were flying, or pictures and flowers, and Another engraving is a flautist singing on flute, and we don't hear what he sings, but we see and we feel the man singing a melodious song. And a ceremonial procession going in a village. All the people are vacated in the village, and they are going on a tour to some other place or other, All these ideas commingle, and they just bring in ideological positions also, namely, for example, if you look at the urn, and if you look at the engravings, and if you look at our own life, we see there is only a kind of a temporariness, a kind of transience around us. And in spite of all that, there is also marked by a position, namely, our life is going. I used to tell in my classes that when at 50, one of my students asked me, Bala, are you grateful to anything? There was a time I had started becoming a believer, and yes, I thank God Almighty that I have crossed my 50, and I don't know how long I am going to live. That is the transience of human life. Yet man is living, and all these are engraved in the urn. So, for example, it is Keats who looked at the urn and brought out the poem. If we look at the urn, we might also be able to write something. We might. Okay? Because all these are ideological position of art. Because art is life, and life is art. Art is life, and life is art. So if you are not able to have an artistic position of your own life, you are not able to enjoy your life, you are a big waste. Because I feel every moment of our life is amazing. Every moment. At 70 plus, I just love. When Dr. Jayshree asked me, Bala, can you give a lecture? I immediately jumped at, because, I could meet some people. I could talk to some people. That is giving me another lease of life that I will be able to live properly. And because, life is always interpenetrated interpenetrated by so much of our own aesthetic sense. And that aesthetic sense always takes us along, that we live a wonderful life. And that is what is the poem. And the fact is, all Keats' words deserve a stylistic analysis. And naturally, a stylistic analysis could be done in a classroom with all the students open up for knowledge, and with all the things that we will be able to do more. And in the same poem, in Ode on a Grecian Urn, in the first stanza itself, he just winds up with 3 lines, where he tells about the nature of mankind. And on the engravings, after seeing all the engravings, Keats tells, what men or gods are these? What are these people? What maidens alert? What these girls are escaping from? Where are they going up? And he says, what mad pursuit? What mad pursuit is a young man is running after a girl to take her, to kiss her, and he calls that mad pursuit. And what struggle to escape from one place going after to another place, because mobility is a very important point of view. You can't escape mobility. Maybe today you are in one context, one place, maybe you are going to another place, and all these things together make, see the words he's telling, what wild ecstasy. Coming to know and getting deeper into all these things, we come to know the ecstatic position of everything around you. And he says, heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. We tell so much to our people and they're very happy, but there are a few things, unheard, they make a wonderful appreciation for all of us. And that's how he goes on telling in the poem. Finally, when he comes to the last stanza, he says, attitude is important, and the attitude should be fair. Fair attitude. The urn has a fair attitude. The problem with most of us is that we are attitudinally otherwise. Supposing somebody tells something, something negative, it could be, we immediately are angry with them, that we shout about them, shout about things that we are not able to face them in a friendly way. And that's why, our attitudes should be perfect, in the sense that you must be in a position to understand the last line of Ode on Aggression, because that is I consider that the summum bonum of Keats' life and Keats' poems and summum bonum of mankind. The last two lines. Beauty is truth, truth, beauty. We have written so much for our studies, research and all, but we have never had a combination of this kind stylistically, namely, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. 5 words, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. 5 words. See the wonderful nature of these words giving us a great happiness. Because in the name of beauty, the fact is we should search for the truth only. The problem with us is that we are not after truth, we are not for truth, we are away from truth. That is why all of us suffer. And again, Keats goes on to say, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all you know on earth. There is nothing in the world beyond the beauty and beyond the truth. That takes us along. And he winds up with again 3 words, and all you need to know. And all you need to know. You don't have to know anything. And you need to know the true ideology of human life, namely, beauty is truth and truth, beauty. If you are not able to accept these ideologies, we are, sufferers permanently. But the fact is, literature people always love our life, and we share our life, ideologies of life, ideas of life, positions of life with our friends so naturally in our classroom with our friends that we are able to, so wonderful, now that we see young teachers like Retd, Sunita and Dr. Jayshree, and people like Dr. Joya, Chakravarty and myself, we are retired, but even then we always are very happy to go and be with the people, with the students, and share our positions. I would wind up with saying that life is wonderful. Life is wonderful, but at the same time, there are sufferings. One of the Australian novelists, Patrick White, would say, human relationships are vast as deserts. It's amazing. It's just like a desert. But we love our life, we live our life, and we get along with our life. And for the text of Ode on Melancholy, Ode on Aggression, Ode to a Nightingale, and other Psyche and Ode to Autumn, and all the words, and I will wind up with the words of Middleton Murray. No, I said in the beginning that I equate Shakespeare and Keats in the sense Keats is one with Shakespeare. And Middleton Murray, one of the renowned critics, would wind up his essay by writing, by saying, I mean, for the kind of work that he has seen in John Keats, he winds up with, again, a few words. And the fact is, 4 words. And he says, Middleton Murray tells of John Keats, Keats is with Shakespeare. Keats is with Shakespeare. That is the greatness of John Keats, and we must, and all our students must get into the essence of John Keats. And if they get into John Keats's works, they would get the quintessential ideology of what their life should be. So I wind up, ma'am. Thank you very much. I think I have taken more time. Thank you very much. And we can, some more time, we can have some discussion also. Thank you.
Professor Balasubramaniyam, I'm extremely thankful to you that you spoke on melancholy, on an autumn, on Grecian urn, and on Nightingale. Wish you had touched a little bit of autumn also, because both of us are in the autumn of our lives.
Yes.
And you see, this last line of the Grecian urn, truth is beauty, beauty, truth, is almost like the Shaivite concept, Satyam Sundaram, Satyam Shivam Sundaram. So I'm glad that you said that now you are a follower of Shiva. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And you see, in Rajasthan, Jayshree will agree, there is this wonderful place called Bharatpur, which has a bird sanctuary. And there you will hear all types of birds making music. Okay. I wouldn't call it a cacophony, but it would be a music that you have to differentiate which bird is singing which song. Okay. And this is the time from November onwards when we have birds coming from Siberia there. And in many other parts of Rajasthan, they come over. They fly at a great distance, even from Uzbekistan. And if you visit that place, you will really enjoy. You were referring to Ethiopia. Every morning I feed birds, and my birds are very, very, they have their own preferences. My birds only eat Monaco biscuit. And every morning, if I don't give the biscuit at the correct time, they come near my door and they start chirping. So I am, sort of living with the birds morning, day after day. But it has been a pleasure to hear you explain Keats's Odes, and you made us re-look at the Odes, and the fact that Middleton Murray compared him to Shakespeare is actually a very fitting tribute to a young man who died in the early 30s. And so 200 years on the 23rd Feb, maybe Jayshree will once again ask you to join us so that we can remember John Keats on the 23rd of Feb.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Over to Jayshree.
Thank you, Professor Jaya Chakravarty, ma'am, for giving such enlightening thoughts over the address of Professor Subramaniyam. He has really relived my life also as a student, because I remembered Professor Jami teaching us in Rajasthan University John Keats, and it I just visualizing and finding parallel kind of portrait in the screen that I'm watching and listening to Professor Balasubramaniyam. And really you have drawn to one of the very neglected part, I think, which as students we had never been taught regarding John Keats, his conflicting impulses. We were always led by our professors into the beautified, mystified world of John Keats, going into the medieval past, exploring love, chivalry, and you may say lots of imagination, which was very much fantastic and supernatural, full with magic. That only we had the world of John Keats in our lives. But here, Professor, you have really gone into the, in-depth feelings that how he was going into a contradictory situations while writing his romantic poetry.
Yes, yes.
And so his odes are completely different showcase of elated imagination, heightened imagination. And the other side of poetries, if we see, they are completely into some kind of medieval depiction. The
Yes.
thing that I have actually very much liked out of your, address is that you are trying to parallelly bringing the contemporary situation of the world, the
Yes.
fears, groans that
Yes.
have occurred in the minds of youth,
Yes.
and
Yes.
leading them to some kind of abyss. And,
Yes.
then how the parallelly John Keats, he was the habitant of Italy, and he died in papal Rome.
Yes.
So, you are
Right.
transnationally bringing all those situations, the past, to the Indian youth, and
Yes.
trying to incorporate in them some kind of, feelings that they should avoid even while reading the poets, because generally the students ask me, ma'am, do the poets always live in melancholy, some kind of lyrical imagination? Do they always have a bad past? Why don't they come and live a life and then write the poetry to cheer up the youth? So very so John Keats really dominated our mind, but coincidentally the professors did not bring up this light that you have brought to us.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Professor.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor Jaya, ma'am, we would be meeting to you next day with Professor Kunal Credon's deliverance on creativity in films and text. And he's from Ireland.
And
And he also got connected through LinkedIn, and it was wonderful to take his precious time and relating then to his predecessor, Professor Balasubramaniyam. Yeah, tomorrow we will be definitely reading the report in 2 minutes. Whatever Balasubramaniyam has deliberated
right.
today,
That's
so that the viewers or the listeners of tomorrow can connect the inaugural session deliverances and deliberations.
Oh,
okay.
just please tell me what would be the time in Ireland? I hope there is no time lag or something.
I think there is no problem with the speakers, especially from Europe. Only the speaker from Argentina, she is facing little problem, so she would be coming in contact with us by 6:30.
Okay, that is which day?
She would be available on Monday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay,
So
okay,
4 days in a week, meeting around 6:25.
okay. So that is Professor
Monday,
Bertha.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We would be meeting around 6:25, because she will continue till 7:30. Today we have finished little 20 minutes earlier, because we met earlier, or we started earlier today the session. And right, tomorrow is from Konal Creedon. Then on Tuesday, because Berta Ortega said that she is not free on Tuesday, so we will be meeting to Professor Prem Srivastava from Delhi University on Tuesday.
And Monday is who speaking, Professor?
Berta from Argentina. She is
Okay, okay.
basically English language, a foreign language specialist in online mode, and currently located in teaching for Germany. but all her belongingness is to Argentina.
Okay, okay, good. So thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing Professor
Yes,
Balasubramaniyam
I'll be
tomorrow.
joining. I'll be joining. I'll be joining.
So you have to be continuously present and to
Yeah.
grace us, because
God,
you're a real expert of literature and creativity,
God's
and
blessing.
you would definitely add to this criticism.
Oh yes, ma'am. I'll join you. I'll join you. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thank you.
God bless
Thank you,
you.
sir.
God bless you.
Good night, sir. Good night.
Good night.